Welcome to College Town Talk. I'm Jonathan Frank.
And I'm Shan Stout.
Shan, I am racked with guilt and shame.
Jonathan, did you try to get extra free samples at Sam's Club again?
Well, yes, but more importantly, we have recorded more than 60 episodes of this podcast, and somehow we have not yet gotten around to talking to today's guest before now. She is easily first 5-episode material. We need to have a serious conversation about firing our booker.
Jonathan, you know that's you, right?
Well, you make a good point, and I'm going to let him off with a warning.
Probably best. Well, lucky for both of us, our guest today is one of the friendliest faces in Cookeville, so I think she's going to forgive us. Today, we're talking with Ferran Kefauver, the executive director of Cookeville Cityscape. Adore her. Now, if you don't know what Cityscape is, I'm going to give you the lowdown. They are our local nonprofit that has been dedicated to preserving and enhancing our beautiful historic downtown since 1991. Now, they maintain our city's iconic Cream City sign, for those of you who don't know. They provide grants for building improvements, renovations. They host events like our annual Fall Fun Fest and Taste of the Town, and so much more. Now, in other words, if you've ever shopped, dined, or explored downtown Cookeville, you've benefited from their hard work. Now, as for Ferran, she's a Livingston native and a mother of 3 that has worked in the nonprofit space for more than a decade and has led Cookeville Cityscape for nearly 3 years. Now, she's also the proud daughter and wife of Tennessee Tech alums, and so she is wings up all day long. Ferran, welcome to College Town Talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Ferran, I am so glad you are a guest on our podcast today. We're good friends.
Yes.
And we're also neighbors because Cityscape is just a couple doors down from the Cookeville Visitor Shop downtown.
Best neighbors ever.
And, and we do help each other.
Yes.
It is, I say all the time, that the best thing about Putnam County and Cookeville is how well our leadership works together. I've really never seen such cohesive support of any community, and I've worked in a lot of communities over time. Now, we've got a lot that we want to get down to the roots of and ask you today, but let's start with this. Now, we gave a short overview of Cityscape in our introduction, but no one knows this organization better than you. So for the uninitiated, what is Cookeville Cityscape, and how can our listeners get involved with the important work that you're doing?
Perfect. Well, I love talking about my work. It is so different. No 2 days are the same in my world. But the basic overall description of Cityscape is we are the Main Street organization here in Cookeville. All over the state of Tennessee and all over America, there are programs exactly like Cityscape. Now, they all run a little differently, and they all kind of handle how they do their Main Street programs in a unique way. And I love the way Cookeville does theirs. I'm so excited that I get to be a part of this work. It's very rewarding. Some of the things that we take a lot of pride in is obviously, like you said, the preservation and the beautification of our downtown. And so we do that in a lot of different ways. You mentioned our care for the Cream City sign. We care for that, and this year we've received a grant. It's a 75%, 25% grant, which means we have to come up with 25% of the funding for this project to rewire the Cream City sign. Our Cream City sign is 75 years old. It's historic neon, and it's about $100,000 to rewire that. And so we're working on that. We've been able to help partner with the city of Cookeville to add the hanging baskets downtown. We bring Fall Fun Fest. We partner with Tennessee Tech on things like College Town Kickoff, and this year Taste of the Town as well. We work with the county on Christmas in the Square. We work with the city on many projects, and it's just a really fun organization to be a part of. If it's happening downtown, we like to be involved.
Well, and for anybody that has not driven to the historic West Side and the downtown area in a long time, you will be surprised because you manage facade grants.
Yes.
You've got a lot of things going on that help those small businesses. So that curb appeal that you see has a lot to do with Cityscape.
Yes, we had this year been awarded the DIG grant, which is a downtown improvement grant through the state of Tennessee. And through that grant, we did the like I mentioned, the Cream City sign and the hanging baskets with the city, but we were also able to award 8 awning and facade grants to businesses within our footprint downtown, like Crawdaddies and Poets and Outdoor Experience and Ralph's Donuts. You're going to see a lot of changes happening in the downtown, and all work will be completed by next October. And it's all through Cityscape, which is really exciting, and a partnership with the business owners. We can't take all the credit because we have so many people here in Cookeville, like I said, whether it's with our partners through the city or the county or Tennessee Tech or our private business owners that want to improve the downtown. I always say my goal is a little selfish. I want my kids to move back here one day when they're grown and raise my grandbabies here. So I think that that's the goal for a lot of people, is they want it to be a place where, that we have that small town feel while still keeping the pace of growing and, excelling in what we do.
Well, you guys do that so well. And speaking as someone that lived here for a period of time and then moved away, I got to see when I came back all of the improvements. And if you've lived here the whole time, maybe it's been more gradual. Maybe you don't notice that if you're driving by every day. But that 10 years made a big difference, and I got to see your all's handiwork. And just so appreciate what you all do for Cookeville. I want to ask you about how you landed this opportunity at Cityscape. And I remember at a chamber dinner talking with you about this, because it's such a natural fit for you with your background in nonprofit work and your being a native of the Upper Cumberland. What made you decide to throw your hat in the ring for this position? And how did it feel to learn that you were chosen, I think back in early 2023, yes, to be this organization's next executive director?
I could talk for a long time probably about that. The Lord definitely had his hand on me in this position. In 2023, early in the year, I was in the throes of raising small children and wasn't looking for full-time work. I was working for part-time for a nonprofit here in town, and one of the board members approached me and said, you've had a lot of experience with things like event planning and grant writing through work I did what feels like a long, long time ago. And she convinced me, just fill out a resume. And looking back, it had been a while since I had made a resume. And my husband and I laughed, and I joked and said I haven't used a computer in a very long time except to make our Christmas cards. And so I felt like Big Bird in a boardroom when I went to that first interview. Everybody was so professional, and I felt like, someone on the cast of a PBS cartoon or something. And so the more I learned about Cityscape through the interview process, the more I fell in love with the organization. And somehow, I have no idea how, but the Lord helped me land this job. And when they called and offered me the position, I knew immediately that this is the work I wanted to do. And so it's kind of been no turning back since then. And what do they say? 10 toes down and going at it.
Well, I love to hear your perspective behind the scenes when you first came on board into this position, because I was there during that journey. And I remember my first impression of you, and it was not Big Bird in a boardroom. That never crossed my mind. I said, oh, my goodness, I hope she stays, because we had turnover with our Cityscape director. The Main Street program suffers every time you lose someone and have to start fresh, and a new person has to come on board. And I was like, oh, I hope she stays. She's got the 2 magic qualities that every good Main Street director has. You are friendly and engaging with people, and people love you back. Oh. And that particular magic doesn't exist just by being a human being, and you know that. I mean, it's, you meet these people, and they just have that it factor of just people just kind of gravitate toward you, and they feel safe with you and know that you've got their back. We can see your work with the Main Street program, what's happening with downtown, and if I bring up your name, and this has been, we've been in this journey now in the years of time, not just months of time. And anytime I bring up your name, zero negativity. It is always a positive, progressive statement of what you're doing. People are aware. People are grateful. Now, let's talk about what we're grateful about. In your nearly 3 years in Cityscape, you've already accomplished so much. So we're gonna do your greatest hits album right now. You helped secure a grant to rewire the historic Cream City sign and keep it shining bright. And that's important, not just for visitors who come in, because that's an elaborate thing to see that just doesn't exist in other communities. That's also the history behind it, keeping that relevant and there. You brought A-list stars to Cookeville like Phil Vassar, Shenandoah, and Easton Corbin to perform at Fall Fun Fest. That is a great concert that is free for families to come out. And so there's a lot of people that, they only get that experience at Fall Fun Fest. You helped us at the Visitors Bureau host Christmas on the Square, and we know what an undertaking that is, and it's already becoming a new favorite local tradition because 100% of what happens during that event is free for families. So everything kids can do, everything the grown-ups can do to make something that's 100% free takes a lot of effort, a lot of community support, and you're going to always, you're always throwing the hat back to giving the credit for other people. But you worked very, very hard to help make that happen. And this year alone, you doled out $120,000 in grants to local businesses. Like you said, Crawdaddy's, Poets Coffee, Ralph's Donuts, the list goes on. And those facade grants, people don't understand. I was formerly a small business owner, so I know that, awnings seem to be the first thing that start looking ratty. They hit the weather, they get the sun, so they get faded, they get torn, and it really makes your business not put its best foot forward, but then you're going to have to spend a lot of money to replace that awning. And so to be able to have those matching grants, to be able to say, if you'll put a little in, we'll put a little in, and we can make it happen. And these businesses just sing your praises because that, it's hard to recover that kind of profit when you're a small business selling small items. Now, it may be hard to choose, but I'm going to ask anyway. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a proudest moment from your time as executive director so far?
Gosh, I'm going to come back here every week if you're going to sing my praises.
You're amazing.
I hope
You're
my
amazing.
husband's listening. No, I'm just kidding. Gosh, a proudest moment is so hard to choose from. Proudest might have been after being rejected for the DIG grant the very first year we came on, being awarded the next year. And I think we were so excited. We'd applied multiple times for this grant. And we really honed in on what we needed, and we made it really concise, and we felt like we had really solid projects this last time. So that might be my proudest moment. But my favorite moment, since I've been in this position, in 2024, a year after we took the job, we reinitiated our awning and facade grants in-house that year, which is a smaller grant, obviously, than the $250,000 the state gave us. And so we did that for the first time since 2020. And so including that grant and the state grant that we've been able to obtain, we've passed out 11 awning and facade grants to business owners and property owners within our downtown. And I think my favorite moment is when I get to walk into that business and say, we're going to give you money. I feel like I'm like Publishers Clearinghouse or like Santa Claus. It is my favorite moment. And I ask the board all the time, will you just let me hand out money all the time? They've said no, but I'm still asking. Yeah.
Party poopers.
I think that's my favorite moment is when I get to go into a business or even like to the city and say, hey, we're going to buy 60 planters this year.
And how
downtown.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a big impact. People don't understand until they go up and you see them. Mm-hmm. It makes everything just so much more special and more welcoming. Yeah. And those business owners, no kidding, it is like Publishers Clearinghouse. Yeah. It is like, oh my word, we're going to be able to make this happen.
Yes.
And it's usually on their bucket list of things to do, but it keeps getting pushed to the bottom.
Sure.
They
want to have high-end retail inside, and they want to treat their employees well. And so if we can help a little on the outside, I think that's the main goal. So no one hates free money. So
Well, you don't just help a little, you help a lot. And I love hearing Shan talk about Fall Fun Fest in particular because that was going on when I came down to Cookeville for my job interview.
Oh, my goodness.
And I remember they had the square blocked off, and I guess I had been in the big city too long. I remember asking Michael Detweiler, is this a crime scene? He said, no, this is Cookeville.
Scene?
He's like, no, it's Fall Fun Fest. And the 502s were performing, and it's just such a fun memory. And so I have Cityscape to thank for that.
Aww.
But and you, like Shan said, also you are always giving credit to other people, putting the spotlight on others, and one of the ways you do that is through your annual awards. And I understand you just announced the 2025 award winners, including a couple of previous guests on this podcast. Can you give us the rundown on this year's honorees?
Absolutely. So each year, Cityscape gives out a legacy award. And that is awarded to a building within our downtown footprint that has either made a significant improvement on their building or has restructured their building or in some way is offering something really beautiful back to the community. And this year's award, hands down, it was an easy award to give, was Fire and Vine. They took that building literally from the ground up and raised it to a rooftop.
Yes.
And it has one of the coolest rooftop experiences, if not the coolest rooftop experience in Cookeville. I remember the first time I went back when they opened in 2023, I kind of thought, am I in Nashville for like 2 seconds? You know?
It feels that way.
It does.
Absolutely.
And so we were able to award Barry and Molly Reese and Fire and Vine with the Legacy Award this year. And they were so appreciative, and we really value what Fire and Vine is bringing to the downtown. It's something different and unique, and I think all of our restaurants and establishments downtown are fantastic and wonderful, and I love that everybody does it a little differently. Mm-hmm. And Fire and Vine definitely brought the experience with them on that dining.
Well, and
piece.
I'll tell you that the fun thing about they kind of have a conflict of terms going on because you've got that intimate dining experience downstairs inside, then on the rooftop, that is more like the party,
Yes.
The party level. And so that's a whole different experience, and that's hard to incorporate into one restaurant.
It is, and they just had the addition of their complete rooftop enclosure. We went to the the ribbon cutting for that, and they were able to show us how they enclosed the entire rooftop because we had our Christmas party there maybe 2 years ago, and it was a little chilly, and they had the plastic, and they did a great job with what they had. But this time being out there, it was just the next step up. It was really an awesome experience, and I think brings something so unique to Cookeville. And I think that's what a lot of people here are searching for is an experience. I hear that more and more, and Cookeville is really rising to the occasion in all the ways on that.
Well, whenever I have friends from out of town, I take them to Fire and Vine, and we are recording this interview just a couple days before fall commencement, and I'm graduating with my master's, and I made a reservation at Fire and Vine for my family because it's one of our favorite places in Cookeville. So they've done a beautiful job with that building.
That's awesome.
Well, Ferran, I'm going to take a left turn here, and I know that Cookeville Cityscape has a great working relationship with Tennessee Tech. So I hear that your team recently took a field trip to the university and visited the metal casting foundry. What was your expectation versus the actual experience of that?
Okay, so I have to back up and say, when we hosted Taste of the Town at Tennessee Tech this year, back in January, I began working obviously closely with the university, and I was over there often. I learned more about, I was not an engineering major, spoiler alert. It is not something I understand. That is not my world. I'm definitely like, let's talk to people. And so learning about what the engineers do over there is incredible. And so when they invited me to this casting event, I really didn't know what to expect. And we get over there and we're in that building that is open air, essentially, and we're making all these metal castings with these students. The students are completely in charge. I was blown away. I think the Tennessee Tech brought their photographer in. I think in every picture, my jaw is like gaping open. None of them, my mother would be like, close your mouth, you are not a codfish. But it was incredible working with your hands and watching these students, and it was something I had no idea that you could do at the university there. So it was an incredible experience. I came home with 2 or 3 different castings, and my children were like, "We want to go do that." and I found out that they do a public opportunity, was it once a year or something, for families to come out and try that, and that's definitely on our bucket list as a family.
Well, and they just had the groundbreaking for our new Acme building, Advanced Construction and Manufacturing Engineering building, which will house the new and improved Foundry 2.0. So you'll have to come back for another field trip when the new Foundry opens. But on a similar note, because I know that, like Shan said, there's such a great connection between Cityscape and Tennessee Tech. You've got wonderful people on your board, Katie Akins and Susan Luna. So we like to end every interview on the show with the same question, and that is, what is one way that Tennessee Tech has impacted your life?
Oh, so I'm not a Tech alum. However, my husband received his master's from Tech, and I thought a little about that question. So I guess as a whole, as a broad view, my parents were both first-generation college graduates, and they both graduated from Tennessee Tech. So I definitely think it set an expectation for me and my sisters to go to university and to be a part of that. And so since moving back to Cookeville the last 10 years, being involved with Tennessee Tech through my work has brought not only a lot of fulfilling experiences through my work and a lot of value to what I do in my job, but my family is becoming so much more integrated in the university, whether it's going to a football game or a basketball game or just walking at Tech and taking our bikes and riding in the summertime or experiencing whatever it is that you all are offering through STEM classes and different things. I think what the university brings to me personally is a lot of enrichment and a lot of opportunity. And so I value that. I hope my children go to Tech and live here forever. But I also think to the community, I've lived in other communities that do not have a university, or if they do, it is not one as high reaching as Tech. And I think it brings so much value to our workforce because we have a lot of college students who are providing working opportunities here in the community. So it's high level, and even just the opportunities here in Cookeville for families and generations to be involved. I was with a lady this morning, and she was definitely in her 70s, and she was talking about what Tech meant to her. And it's just really awesome to see how a university can really bring a whole town together.
Well, and just as you're talking about what Tennessee Tech does for you, you've done a lot for Tennessee Tech. We call this podcast College Town Talk because we've trademarked the phrase Tennessee's College Town for Cookeville. And one of the reasons it's a great, attractive college town for students and for prospective students is because of our historic downtown and because of all the work that Cityscape does. And so we appreciate you so much. Ferran, thank you for being our guest today on College Town Talk.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to come back if y'all keep saying all these nice things about me.
All the time. And for our listeners, if you're enjoying our show and hearing from incredible Cookeville community leaders like Ferran Kefauver, would you do us a big favor and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get this podcast? It all helps to spread the word about the great things happening right here in Cookeville.
We'll meet you back here again next week for more conversations with the people who make Cookeville Tennessee's college town. College Town Talk is presented by Tennessee Tech University in partnership with the Cookeville-Putnam County Visitors Bureau. Your hosts are Jonathan Frank and Shan Stout, and original music is performed by Andrew Buckner. Visit us online at tntech.edu/collegetowntalk.